Good morning, fellow Fidget fans. Yeah, I know it's been a little while since we last did a video. The last video we posted was the showcase of the 5 different available fake fidget cubes, the unofficial cubes that are out there from the 5 factories we know are producing various levels of quality fidget cubes in various stages of quality, and we ranked them from 1 to 5. 1 being the highest quality of the fakes, which is these ones here, including, of course, the camo cubes. Second, it was a real toss-up between these relatively cheap but almost indestructible cubes that cost about $6 each. They're not anything special to look at, but they are pretty much indestructible. And my personal favourite, of course, was the midget fidget, which, if I can get him out of his box, is this little guy here. He is approximately a third smaller than a regular size fidget. There we go. He's made of acrylic, or I shouldn't call him he. They are made of, sorry, not acrylic, of high quality vinyl. They're a fantastic size in my opinion. They feature the tactile buttons on the 3 diagonals, and offer 2 nice springy tactile feedback silent buttons on either side. Now, what I want to note about these midget fidgets is the fact that they took on board something that Antsy Labs, the official fidget cube producers, did, and that is to add 2 layers of tactile feedback to the 3 buttons. So the buttons on either end of the midget fidget both have the same level of force needed to trigger the tactile dome, but the middle one is slightly softer and has a different sound. So middle, side, middle, side, middle, side. It sounds relatively different, but the middle one is much easier to press in, and also sounds very different than the other 2. As I said, it's made of high quality vinyl. All the features work. It's got a really nice free spinning spin wheel on it. The little mini toggle switches are great. These are so small and dinky. Let's see where we got the switch out at the moment. I'll have to drag one out a second. Let's use switch from here. Not the best colour choice, but we'll see. Just about, I'll zoom out a bit, you can see the switch size on an official fake, and then you've got the dinky little switch size on the midget fidget, which I think brilliant. And it's I'll just put that back in its box. It's so dinky and small, but it's still so satisfying to click backwards and forwards. It's fantastic. I've run the sensors over these cubes. They don't feature any magnets at all, so it's all mechanical. On the front, you have the 3 spinning dials. I actually prefer the spinning dials, or the ones that only have light tactile feedback. I don't like dials such as the ones on these kind of cubes that are a real effort to kind of push and make them click round. So yeah, my preference is for these ones or clicky ones that are very loose. The ball spins well. Unfortunately, doesn't click down like many of the other fakes, but it does spin well, and that's the main purpose of that part. The glide joystick, again, it's much smaller, but it's still in the right size for the cube itself, and it moves around beautifully smoothly. It's got a nice springy back return to center. It's got a nice fixed stem on it, and it's just all works. Finally, there's the worry stone, of course, which is just fine. And as we've looked at before, it's got the lanyard loophole there for putting your lanyard on, and so you can keep hold of it, put it in your keychain, do whatever you want with it. Now that was the first one I showed you a few weeks back. Since then, a couple more have come in. I'll show you this. They come in these padded boxes. Well, I had one that didn't come in a box and just came in the back, but they come in these nice sort of velvety pouches. They're not the real cheap style ones that you see quite often. They're actually really quite high quality, and they've got beaded drawstrings on both sides, so when you pull them together, it does pull them up right up into the middle, so you do get your sack shape, as opposed excuse me, as opposed to pulling it all to one side. So we got a few different colours. We've got the same yellow casing but with the red buttons, and then finally, just get it out of its bag, we've got the grey with the blue buttons, which I think is another quite funky colour. I really like these midget fidgets, just because they're quirky. They got super bright colours, and also the fact that they're a little bit smaller, and so you can have them in your pocket and use them more discreetly. So yeah, that's those. For the time being, we'll leave one out, and we'll put these other two away for now. So we know now that Antsy have got really sort of rapidly shipping their cubes out now. The manufacturers and the sellers of cubes seem to be running out of stock and not fulfilling currently, which leads me to suggest that they are now about to copy all the features of the official Fidget Cube and put them into their own design. So I think they've stopped production and are now changing all their molds and whatnot to make up these kind of fidgets. Here's the dice coloured one. So I'd imagine that they're going to be continuing making these with the same look, but with the features that the official cube has. Now, whilst we're talking about official cubes, as you know, I've documented the fake fidgets as they've appeared. I've expressed my opinions of them, but I haven't actively supported them. I have, said which ones I prefer, but my plan has never been to, undermine Antsy Labs at all. I'm a Kickstarter backer myself, and was thrilled this week when yes, my official Antsy Labs Fidget Cube has arrived. Oh yes. Here it is in its case. Its case is pretty cool. It's obviously designed for display. A lot more for retail display, but I mean you can also use it at home for display. It comes with a little button molded on the top to make it look like a fidget cube itself. The top pops off. Then underneath is the cube, which sits on a stand. We can detach the stand from the bottom. In fact, when my cube arrived and had got away from where it was secured, and so the fidget cube and the stand that it was on were rattling about inside the casing, and must hit it pretty hard because they've put some pretty substantial cracks into the lid of the display case, which is a real shame because apart from cracks, it's a really nice case. But because of that, that's not something I would want on display to show anything off. So it's a real shame that got damaged. But like I say, you can detach the stand that's inside there. In there also, in the bottom, is a little cotton bag with the Antsy Labs logo on, and you also get a little fidget cube sticker as well. Unfortunately, mine, along with the damage to the case, somehow got bent over during shipping, and ended up sort of crushed under the stand, between the stand and the base of the case. That was a little annoying. So I really like stickers. But never mind. Here's the cube anyway. We'll move all the packaging out of the way for the time being. Like I said, Kickstarter green. Straight away, on the front of the cube, you can see the dials. Now these spin relatively freely, but they do have a clicky tactile feedback. But they each move a few degrees, and there is a mechanism in there. Underneath, as with a lot of the black coloured ones, I believe, you actually get a black ball bearing, which is quite cool. Now, without even pressing it, it spins really well. I mean, you can really get that going well. But it also clicks in really nicely. It's got a really nice, satisfying click. And whilst it's clicked, you can still spin it as well. So that's really cool. So that's just the spin features on the front. On top, I mean exactly the same as the copied ones, is the green toggle switch. Now I've checked this for magnets, and there's no magnets in this cube, but it does move incredibly easily back and forth as if there was magnets there. So they've really done some hard work on getting that to work. Whatever the mechanism is inside, it does work very well, indeed. So I would have preferred a little more pressure to be applied before triggering it, but the way it is fine. It's not a big deal, and as promised, you can do it backwards and forwards, and it is absolutely silent, unlike all the others that even when you rock them try and be silent, there is some kind of click sound that comes out at the end, whereas on these official cubes they are entirely silent in both directions. Round to the glide. Now this is where we knew the official Fidget was going to stand out over the fake ones. What they've done is they've used a joystick system similar to Nintendo 3DS and little console handheld thing, and so rather than a joystick that moves around but sort of changes its angle as it does, this one you can move around and it stays absolutely flat. It's a really good design. And turn it upwards, you can move it around, and like I say, it stays completely flat. So that is awesome. I love that. I think that's top. Round to the dial. As you can see, they've had their brand name, an image cast into the part on this, or etched in, or into the mould, or whatever. And what a lot of us backers were surprised about was the fact that the dial actually has tactile feedback. It clicks as it goes round. Kind of probably a click every 3 or 4 degrees. And that is a really nice little feature. I like that a lot. I think again they've done a top job on that. On the front, on the dice face, as promised, you got 3 tactile buttons, 2 silent ones. The silent ones just appear to be on springs and bounce back. It's worth mentioning actually that, as you can probably see, the 5 buttons on the dice face are made of plastic, as opposed to fake fidgets. Let's use the blue camo there, which use rubberized buttons, and still function just as well. So I'm guessing they must have done some market research and focus groups and whatnot, and that probably came back as being the material that people preferred. I mean, I don't think it's bad at all. I would have preferred rubberized buttons, but also rubber does wear out faster, and as these are designed to be in your pocket and get lots of use, maybe plastic is a better idea than rubber. In fact, the midget fidget uses plastic buttons, as do a lot of the other cubes as well. So it's not a big deal at all. It's just personal preference. Actually, whilst from the side, you can see really well how nice and clear the vinyl is. It's been really nicely finished and is nice and smooth, no defects or anything like that. Moving quickly on, we've got the worry stone, which has been sunk quite nicely into the surface, where again these high quality cubes, the worry stone is very deep, and on the cheaper cubes it's barely goes down at all. It's barely worth having on. And the midget fidget, again, for its size, it does actually go down quite deep and isn't far off what they've done with the official cube. What were we missing? So we've looked at the dice. We've looked at the very cool glide joystick. You've seen the toggle switch on the top. You've seen the spin dial, which, as you can hear, clicks and gives you feedback. And then the front, where you've got your dials for rolling and your ball bearing for rolling, and it all comes together really well. So now we've got 6 cubes in the mix with the official one now here as well. Which one's best? It's a lot of cubes to decide from. Yeah, we've got these high quality vinyl cubes that have got a slightly rubberized finish on them that are very high quality. They've got rubber buttons. The joysticks are pretty high quality, although they're not flat like the official ones. These cubes seem to be coming out in some really cool colours, and we'll come back to that in a minute. So there are a lot of features that I like of these higher quality cubes. I also really love the midget fidget, and this one is the one I carry around currently in my pocket. And it's fantastic because it's small enough that it's discreet in your pocket, but still gives you all fully working features, and it also, all the features work really well. It's got a great audible switch on top. It's got a nice joystick that moves around. The spin dial on the side works perfectly. It's on a bearing, and so it's got a nice smooth turn to it. And then you got your 3 audible buttons and 2 silent buttons on the dice face. So yeah, I really like that one as well. But after all said and done, we come back to the official cube. Whilst it doesn't quite meet what I was expecting maybe a little more from the cube, and I was expecting a few of the features to be different. I wasn't expecting the rocker switch to be so easy to flick, but that's just my own personal preference and isn't a big deal at all. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm dying first here. But it's no biggie. That's so easy to click. It's not a big deal at all. I do like how they've made this kind of soft feedback feature on the dials. That works really well. I really like that a lot, as I do the ball bearing. The buttons, I was expecting maybe something a little bit softer on the buttons, not necessarily full rubber, but some kind of you know, rubbery type material. But like I say, in hindsight, the plastic probably was a good idea because it will last longer and won't damage as easily as rubber. And the actual buttons themselves work as they say. You've then got your glide, which is just awesome. That's been taken straight off the Nintendo DS, and it works beautifully. Unfortunately, my cube did arrive with a couple of faults. One of which is one of the corners of the glide joystick does kind of slow it down when you're going around and around in circles. It hits a 90-degree area where it hits more resistance, which is there. And if you push on through that, it's like, running a piece of plastic over a load of very fine broken glass. It's like a very sort of squeaky, grindy noise that you hear. The spin dial is great. I love the tactile feature on it. Again, the same fault has occurred on the same corner here. I think there must have been an impact here during transit, which is where the packaging was damaged. The case was cracked. I think what's happened is something's been knocked out of place. So when the dial gets to about this point, it becomes harder to push round, and the rest of the dial, which is nice and easy and gives you a nice, easy but clicky feedback. When it gets to there, it requires a lot more force, and as you can hear, a much deeper grinding sort of noise, and then it makes it easier again as you go past it. Now, when you're actually holding it and you got a good grip on the little knobby bit on the edge, it's not such a big deal. And I mean, it is a hindrance and it is annoying. It's not the end of the world. Ideally, I would like Antsy Labs to sort something out for this. Initially, I wasn't going to release this video until I'd finished talking to the guys at Antsy Labs about these issues. But as yet, we haven't resolved anything, so I wanted to get this video out so people could see side-by-side comparisons of all different cubes available. So yeah, that's the official Fidget. How do I rate it? I mean, there's only one way you can rate the official cube, and that is number 1. It has all the good features of the rest of the cubes, but combines them into one cube. And all the features work really well. All the little extras they've put into the cube work well. It's a lovely shape. It feels nice to the touch. It's well made, well engineered, and well designed. And I think it's going to be a huge seller when it gets to the shops later this year. If the Kickstarter campaign is anything to go by, along with the feedback from backers like myself who have received their cubes. So the new order is the official cube at number 1. The unofficial high quality cube is now in second. Third goes to, now I've changed this around a bit, this is based on my current preference. So official copy of official. Midget Fidget in third place, definitely. I love this little thing. It's awesome. Again, you can see there the size difference between the Midget Fidget and the official one and the unofficial one. After that comes these ABS cubes that aren't necessarily as pretty to look at, but do have really good working features, like a clunky switch, really clicky dials, which I'm not so keen on personally, but a lot of people like them. The ball bearing works correctly, the buttons work correctly, and plus these cubes are so easy to hack, as are those ones. They're easy to pop the cover off the spin wheel to access the screws to get inside, and then you can modify some of the features of the cubes, as you may have seen in previous videos. You've seen me show you how to do the audible button mod on those cubes and on these ones here. And then finally, actually second to last, only because it's almost the same, is these cubes. They come in this windowed box. They are essentially the same cube as that one. There's the black one there. They're almost identical. They're made of a slightly different material. The joystick's a different length. The switch is a little bit different, but overall, it's pretty good. But I'm sticking it on the back end just because basically it's already there at number 2. And then finally, a good old friend, the hated one, is back, and it's interesting. We can do this side by side now. Is this junk cube that cost very little from China and is just cheap and nasty. The toggle switch doesn't work. The ball bearing doesn't spin. The dials are so tight, you've actually got to get your fingernail into them to make them do one click. All the buttons make noise. There's no silent ones. Seems to just bend rather than move. The spin wheel does go round, but not easily, and really it's just a piece of junk. So that's the last one. Very quickly, I'm running out of space on my phone currently to record, so I'll do this quickly. There's a new camo cube out, and I wanted to showcase this this morning. This is the white, black and grey Arctic camo with blood spatter. Some are calling it zombie cube, some are calling it spatter cube, and some are calling it the red camo cube. But it's very cool. It's from the same makers who make the other camo cubes and also the high quality fidgets. And it is a very cool design. It's got the red buttons, the other features are black, and everything works really well. They've also refined the material on the outside, slightly less rubbery now and harder and a bit more wear resistant. Finally, to tell you that this week, or this coming week, next week, there is going to be a pink camo cube going to be coming into the seller that you all know that sell these camo cubes. They have now produced a pink camo cube, which will be arriving in the UK and other places in the coming week or so. So yeah, there we go. We've got the official cube, which is awesome. And Antsy have done an absolute top job of creating that. And they are getting them out to people so quickly now, which is really cool. Second is the high quality ones, including the camo cube and these high quality copied cubes. So they're our number 2. Also, my midget fidgets are at number 3 and are my everyday carrying fidget. My official fidget will sit on my desk now, but this is my one which will get the wear and tear, and I've got a few spare for when it eventually breaks and whatever. So I love those midget fidgets, and the fact they got a lanyard as well is really cool. And then really last out of all the cubes now everything's been revised, is the good old ABS cheap toy-like cube, but it does a very good job, and you can get them on eBay for just $4 or less in some cases, and they work. They got a lot of people through the wait for fulfillment from Antsy and Kickstarter, and so now a lot of people own these, but they are good cubes. I don't think there's anything wrong with them at all. But they are made of less superior material, and the functions are a little bit more clunky, but some like that. So there you go, the final side-by-side lineup of cubes. The top one, of course, being the official one. I think we always knew it was going to be the best cube by far. Then these cubes continue to change in design and colour. The midget fidget, which is my personal favourite, not everyone loves it, but I love the midget fidget and its colours that it comes in. And then finally the black ABS cubes that we've grown to know and love. So that's the breakdown of all the fidget cubes that are currently out there. Thank you all so much for watching my videos over the past couple of months. Now the official cube is out and shipping. I expect this will probably be the last video for a while. So I appreciate everyone watching these. I know they've been long-winded, but I like to describe things as best I can. So there you go, side by side, top 5, and that's it. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a great day and fidget on. Cheers, guys. Bye.